Hey my good friend, Sam Haymart with TestDrivenTV. Today in the garage we have our long-term test 2022 Ford Maverick, and we have just completed one of the most exciting projects yet, a do-it-yourself rail and anchor system for the cargo box that, much like the factory system, is very versatile, only here it's a lot more affordable. The Ford Maverick XLT and Lariat with full package options includes a handy rail and anchor system from the factory, but lower trims like our 2022 XL long-term tester come only with a couple pairs of fixed tie-downs. There is a way, however, with common off-the-shelf materials from your local hardware retailer to build your own rail and anchor system that's every bit as practical as the factory one. In fact, likely even more versatile with all the options that you can do. And best yet, you can do this for under $75. Ford themselves created a video for a DIY rail and anchor system that our project actually follows, but we did ours a little bit different using full-length 40-inch rails instead of the shorter 30-inch size that Ford did. We even found a huge mistake in their video that we won't be repeating here. More on that in just a minute. Parts you'll need to start with are a commonly available 10-foot length of 12-gauge slotted B-channel strut. The brand here is Super Strut, but your retailer might carry another brand. It comes with an attractive galvanized finish and it's ready to use. We cut it into two 40-inch lengths for our project and drilled one additional hole needed to line up with all of the pre-drilled and threaded bolt holes in the cargo box wall. You'll also need 4 plastic end caps for the B-channel for a finished look and feel. The Super Strut brand we purchased came in bright blue, but I shot them with some black paint so they didn't stand out so much visually. I'm using 4 bolts to attach each rail to the sides of the cargo box. You'll need M8 by 125 by about 1 inch in length body bolts, 3 for each side for a total of 6. I use factory style Torx head bolts with attached washers. An important note, Ford's video actually called for M6 bolts for this in their parts list, which is incorrect as they're way too small. You will need one of the Torx head M6 bolts, however, for the front bolt hole where the factory steel tie down is to be removed. I just used the bolts left over from removing them. All of these bolts need a minimum size 5/16 by 1 inch washer to be used when you secure the rails. Otherwise, the bolts will simply go right through the slots. Also needed are 3/8 inch nylon strut cone nuts compatible with your B-channel strut for attaching eye bolts. For the anchors, I use 3/8 inch by 1 inch shoulder style eye bolts, which have a flat shoulder flange to tighten down flat and securely against the 3/8 by 1.5 inch fender washers. Before you get started, verify that all your holes are clean and give them a test with the bolts. They are pre-threaded, but they do have paint on them. If you have a spray-in bed liner, they also likely have the coating on the threads and will need to be cleaned or tapped before you can use them. While there are a total of 6 bolt holes in the bed structure on each side, I used the rear of the 2 holes in the front where the tie-down was attached with the M6 bolts, and 3 of the others where the larger M8 bolts will be used for a total of 4. As I stated earlier, an extra hole had to be drilled in the channel to accommodate a bolt because the slots didn't line up with all the factory holes. Before placing the 40-inch length of channel, I installed the plastic caps first. Holding it in place, I fed the first M8 bolt through the 3/8 inch hole I drilled, as it was closer to the middle to support the piece while I hand threaded the remaining bolts. The process takes a few minutes as feeding the bolts into the tight channel takes some patience. I used a Torx bit and an extension to work them in one by one. Lastly, feed the factory M6 bolt at the front hole where the factory tie-down was once attached. Once all 4 bolts were threaded into their holes, I tightened them down, working from the middle holes to the ends. The next step is installing your anchors using the nylon strut cone nuts. They're shaped so that you can twist them into place. The nylon cone retains it in place and allows you to move it around and holds it while you install your hardware, whatever that is. To add them, simply press it into the channel, then twist 90 degrees. Once it's placed, you should be able to slide it about freely. Once in, you can thread the shoulder eye bolt and washer combo down and into place. Once you get it where you want it, you can then hand tighten it to keep it snug. To make it tight enough to use for securing cargo, however, you need to use a ratchet handle to give it an extra 180-degree turn. It's that simple. You can use as many or few of these as you want. You can also use these strut cone nuts and the rails for other hardware options, or use them to secure a rack system that you might come up with on your own. As I said at the outset, I'm pretty excited by this project. I'm not exactly sure why. I think it's just because after I really got this put in, I started to see the versatility of this and how customizable it is. There are any numbers of different types of hooks and hardware that you can attach to this. You can, as I said, if you're building some kind of a rack or attaching something to the bed of your truck, you can use this instead of using clamps on your bed rails. You don't have to drill any holes into your truck to attach anything quite securely. That is amazing, if you ask me. So this is actually part of a lot of different projects that we did as part of an overall makeover of our cargo box. We installed a bed liner. We put cargo hooks at the front floor as well as power outlets at the back. All of that is linked down below, along with a text tutorial of this entire project, including a parts list, a bill of materials. So if you're gonna do this, you can go to the website, print that out. You can also see our playlist right there. That has everything on it. A lot of Maverick content, test drives, DIY, tech articles, the whole nine. Best yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel right there. Either way, stay tuned.